What comes next, hopefully, is the becoming the entire odyssey of mindfulness. And at this place, you are pretty kind of aware of this idea that you are moving through life conversing with yourself. And you also may be aware of the idea of the self. What are the materials organized a certain way which makes up the human constitute? The observer, the actor, and the audience. And maybe a little bit farther down on your journey, your odyssey, uh, your voyage in mindfulness, you'll maybe pose a question to yourself: How? What's a good way for me to move through life? What are some good things to think about? How are some good ways to organize my data so I can move through life in a way in which I think will, um, most quickly and most powerfully lead me to a place where I'm conversing with myself and with life and with reality and ideas and in which ways which are better and to be looked upon those type of ideas with embracement, ideas of embracement, having a better converse here as you exist. And I think the ideas of thankfulness and productivity will lead you there. I think that will lead you in a really good spot. Um, uh, as your endeavor continues in your odyssey of the self. And I think that you'll find out that thankfulness and productivity work really well with our natural mechanisms, our natural biological mechanisms. And I am somebody who is of the school of thought that reality, whatever it may be, is interpreted biologically. So it's not really a much of a stretch for me to look at reality and think that our biology expressed made our metaphysics. Um, in that um, and probably and then in return probably our metaphysics has maybe even taught us things about our biology, how to interpret our biology, how to make sense of it. Um, as it has been expressed, that's not a very uh, that's I don't think that's too big of a leap when in that type of conversation. So you will find out that this natural tendency you have, this relation with life, is a call and response mechanism in which you more or less are thinking things, want to retrieve things, or making it understandable, having converse about it, and life kind of brings you what it brings you. And so that area right there, that situation right there, Sam Harris believes, and I think as well, can be going better otherwise, more or less. You know, it could be going better. Um, and so you know, maybe on your journey to mindfulness, you will start to see these type of subtleties, and you will more or less, hopefully, or maybe come to some type of idea that, you know, this really is the converse of your life. This really is the narrative that's making your life. And there probably is better uh, for you. And so it leads to this even more converse. It leads to even more conversation. And I would say that I would probably even define that converse as more serious. Later, I think you develop the tools that you need to play the language game, um, to have even a more serious converse with the self, yourself, and expressing yourself. And so those are some of the ideas that I kind of focused on when I was meditating. So I would say that this is so I went and I meditated and you know I learned some stuff that I can now articulate. I would call that more or less like a life cycle of spending some time meditating. Um, you know, is this repeatable? I think definitely. If I wanted to think about a different idea, this chart would probably look similar in its pathway, but there would be different data on the chart. Um, and so, you know, it depends on it's you. It's when you meditate, it's a reflection of yourself, uh, you know, with yourself. And so, you know, this is kind of this is describing a pathway, more or less. When you get into meditation and on your journey to mindfulness, um, enlightenment, you will see that meditation, you'll see kind of you have thoughts and then life goes on, then you have more thoughts and life goes on, you have more thoughts and life goes on. They can be organized and you can have a good relation to them. You know, they're organizable. You know, that is something obtainable through practice of meditation. And also I think you become more open. You become more wanting to embrace the human condition. Um, Something along those lines. Okay, so yeah, those are some more positive benefits of mindfulness.